God, please, no! 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 No!
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the American Tier 10 medium tank, the T95E6. Now this is a tank that I featured on the channel a week ago today, and I posed the question, did it need to be buffed? And really, I said pretty much no. The only thing that really needs to be changed about this tank was the ammo count, because it runs out of ammo like mad, always runs out, it's really annoying. But generally, especially with 6.0, with the crew skills, the tank is really damn good, if I'm honest. And then they buffed it, and now we know what the actual... Because when I released that video, I didn't quite know what the stats was going to be when they released it. Now we know. They buffed the on-the-move dispersions from like 0.14 to 0.12. They buffed the accuracy to 0.35 from 0.38. And they buffed the aim time to 2.1 from 2.3, right? That just means that this tank now is an absolute snapshotting god. It's nearly as good as the M48 pattern for that. The only thing it doesn't have is the shell velocity. That's pretty much it, right? Because the armor on this tank is troll. It's not brilliant, right? It's troll. Because you can ricochet things off that upper plate when it's angled really well. The top of the turret is just like the M48 120mm. It ricochets off the top of the turret quite easily. It also gets up to good speed as well. It's really maneuverable. And, oh yeah, the other thing that did was the traverse speed, so it swivels around on the spot really quick. Yeah, I mean, this tank is now ridiculous because it's ridiculously accurate. It can snapshot. It's got great DPM. I'd say the only thing that's bad about it, well, two things really, is the ammo capacity and the shell velocity. That's it. This tank is now ridiculous. And to be honest, I'd probably say this is the... I want to say it's one of the top tier 10 medium tanks. I mean, I hate making statements like that because it's always personal preference, right? But I'd say it's up there now. I mean, it wasn't like... It's not like it wasn't already. And then they buffed it and they've just made it definitely up there. Pre 6.0, obviously, the accuracy was a major factor in this, but then with the crew skills you could just nullify it after 6.0, which made the tank just great. And then now they've buffed the accuracy even more. It begs the question whether you need certain pieces of equipment. So you don't, like before, you had to run vert stabs because the gun handling was, you know, poo. And with the crew system you could make it better, but you needed the vertical stabilizers to definitely make it better in itself anyway. Now you could probably just run vents and optics, make the DPM even better, make everything else just generally better, you know. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't need a buff, this tank. This tank is already ridiculously good, and now what you're seeing is just how good it is. Because, I mean, you're seeing we're just going to snippety snipe shots at people very easily. We're going to hit shots on the move in these games, and yeah, we're just going to be able to take aggressive positions easily because the tank's faster than, say, the M48 pattern. The gun handling is not going to prove a problem, you know. And as you see, we're just getting these guys. So we're just going to aim at this guy's weak spot, snipe his cupola, because we can't actually overmatch a STRV 103B. We have to actually hit his cupola to pen it. But you did see us earlier on where we were overmatching his side. He was angled ever so slightly, and that meant we could pen his side and overmatch his tracks, which... yeah, we could track him. That's the thing with the STRVs, the tier 10 Swedes. I mean, you don't see them all that often, but if you do, you can actually just shoot the tracks. And if they're sort of slightly faced away from you, you can pen and track them quite easily, especially when you've got like 120mm guns. So we've just basically crushed our way through the flanks. We've got this poor little tier 8 heavy tank in front of us. We could crush him and he's dead. We've got a guy in the cap. I know where the last lot of guys were spotted, and they were spotted in that sort of 1-2 line. So what I'm going to do is try and get back to cut them off, because I imagine they're going to go back to their own cap, right, and try and reset it. And sure enough, here's the 75 and the M48 120. Now we're trying to snap a shot at that projector, but we were never going to hit. It was going too fast, and he was already past the point of, say, no return for the shot when he'd gone. Now you're going to see a bit of an issue with the ammo capacity, obviously, here, because we do manage to pen that one, but we've only got heat left, which means that any shots that we want to try and track and pen this E75 in front of us might struggle. So we're going to go for the drive wheel, but he pulls back, so we just slap a shot through his lower plate. And let's be honest, if you're firing here, you're just going to be able to butter the lower plate of an E75 very, very easily. So we're just going to pop a shot into the lower plate, the M40 at 120mm. No need to really aim, and he gets shut down by the back chap. And we finished that game with 6.2k damage, 1,100 assistance, and generally a nice game for the T95E6. It was a good run around on Kaunas, and it kind of just, in that one replay, showed what the gun handling changes can do, because you're just snapping off shots left, right and centre. You're not having to over-aim, you're not having to sit around and wait and hopefully hit the targets. You're pretty much hitting the target most times, and that's what this tank is now. So we're on to the second game. We're on Fisherman's Bay. Platooned up Swindle in his M60, which I always thought the M60 was better than this tank because of the speed and just how awesomely wicked the gun is on that tank. But now I don't think so, because this has better armour. It has very, very similar gun handling. Obviously it's 0.33 on the M60, 0.35 on here, 2.1 aim time on here. M60's 1.9, I want to say. I could be wrong, actually. I know the M60's got great aim time anyway. But it also had better on the move dispersions. Well, now it's very, very, very similar to this tank. So I'd say this tank's now better than the M60. And everyone has one. So, you know, for the most part, unless you sold it when you got it for free, it's a very enjoyable tank, and I'd probably recommend taking it out and giving it a whirl and, you know, seeing what it's like for yourself. So, we're on Fisherman's Bay, and we have taken up the pretty normal position, to be fair. It's where we always end up, and that is in this position here at F67, and we're going to get shots down into the town, which is what this position is good for. You can get shots across at people crossing into the town, you can get shots down at the people that are trying to use that corner down there to side scrape. Now we're looking for a shot at this Valor. Unfortunately we missed. We're trying to shoot through a wall, so we're trying to, you know, guess a little bit where he is. Unfortunately we missed, but we're going to try and feather another shot into him. We actually bounce off his upper plate because we need to hit his lower plate to pen it, and it's like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to go for his cupola, which, easy, snippety snipes, because this tank can do it now, easily. The one big drawback to this tank is gone, so you can just snipe to your heart's content with good DPM. And we managed to pen that Valor's cupola, which I can tell you is a pretty hard feat. And unfortunately we ended up hitting the building, I think, there. I think what, as we'll see there, he's actually poking between two little stanchions on the house. So there's actually a wooden pole there that we can't actually see because of the bushes, and that's what we actually hit. And we pop a shot blind. We actually hit him, which is pretty impressive. I didn't think we might hit him. I was just hoping that he'd pull out into that position there. And there you go. You can see the little wooden supports, stanchions, whatever you want to call them, that we were hitting earlier on. And we're just sort of floating a little bit right now. We're trying to see what we can get shots at. Then the C100 gets spotted up, and it's like, oh, E100. Don't mind if I do. We have a shot at him, but unfortunately he actually gets behind a building there, which is, you know, kind of annoying. But we're going to poke out, see if we can light him up again. We actually do, and we're going to get a free shot into his side. Unfortunately, he turned at that moment, so we ended up hitting his upper plate. And now we're going to swivel around and see if we can pop a shot at this Tusk. Unfortunately, I lead that a little bit too much, and well, actually, I think I aimed a little bit too high, and it flies over. But we're looking at this map, at the way everything's set out, and it's looking at it going, this isn't looking that great, because we've got a lot of their team spotted in the north, like in towards their base, but they're all in good sort of defensive positions, and we're still floating at the minute. We're waiting for these heavy tanks to try and push out, because we're looking at them going, they're going to push. I think Swindle at this point was saying, they're going to push. We're going to get shots into these guys as they cross. So we're just waiting. It's just a waiting game. We're waiting for them to make the mistake and drive out into the open sideways on for us. But you just don't feel like they're going to do it. We got to that point where we're waiting that little bit too long, and we're like, okay, they're not doing it. They're not pushing. Our TD's pushing in. And then this 777 version 2 pushes out. We get a nice shot snapped into him. Pen him, track him. Swindle fishes him off. And now there's the C75 over here. And I was going to push out and try and shoot him, but then I got detected as soon as I tried to push out. And it's like, okay, what was that? It's this Leopard 1 here that was getting, I say getting shots at us, they were looking at us, which was putting me off. We're trying to be a little bit careful here, because obviously we don't want to push out. We don't want to get most of our health lost here. So we get a nice shot into the Leopard 1 as we pull out. And we're just going to keep poking, making sure that we don't do anything silly. Because obviously this TVP is now marauding down here. That could be quite bad for us. He could like unload 1200 into us and we'd be down to a couple of shots. We get a nice shot into him as he was passing, and he's bugging out because he's realised, no, I don't want to be there, so I'm just going to pull back. So we're going to go down lower onto the ridgeline to basically stay safe from anything higher up, so that we can use the ridgelines in front of us to our advantage rather than to theirs. Then the artillery gets spotted up. We're like, okay, you got to do the Lord's work, right? We've got to get rid of the artillery. Hopefully we'll get the shot in. We shut him down. We're now going to try and feast on this E75. And here's the heat problem. We've run out of AP, not realised. Try and track him with the heat and pen him. It's not going to work. Can't pen and track with heat because the heat at rounds will just get absorbed. And then we pop a shot straight into his lower plate. Because obviously, with the heat in, it doesn't really matter how he angles. The heat is just going to butcher his lower plate. So we're just going to put our amazing DPM to work. And you see, he's fired once, right? He fired once. We managed to fire like twice. And put 800 damage into him. And we were nearly loaded for the third time. You know, just the DPM is fantastic on this tank. Now, unfortunately, we potato aim a shot there. We aimed just that little bit too low, and then we hit the ridge line. And the Leopard gets away with it. And we're now sort of in an awkward position, because if there's anything camping at B2, it's going to slap us up. And that's why I'm trying to keep this little building on my right. And there you go, it just got hit. That building on my right, sort of in between me and that area, so that if anyone was to try and shoot me, they'd hit that building. So we get a nice shot into the TVP, through his turret, puts him on 700 health. I'm going to poke up to try and put another shot in, because I want to try and make him a one shot. Now, unfortunately, we end up ricocheting off the top of his turret, which is very unfortunate, because that tank has no armour. And then we find this Waffle Panzer IV, Death Star, and FV 4005. We get a nice shot into the Waffle Panzer IV, set him on fire. Little weirdness with the reticle, I say with the outlines there, made the Death Star and the Waffle blend into each other, but we finished off the Waffle. We'll get a nice shot into the side of the turret of the Death Star. We're going to pop a shot at this Death Star. We risked it for a biscuit there, because I thought there's fence posts in front of me. He could hit the fence post and it could get absorbed. Well, no, he didn't. We got a shot into the top of his turret, he got a shot into me, put us down to 900 and something health. We try, again, this is the problem, we make a mistake here. We poke up to shoot the 50B. We tried to track him and pen him, but we got heat in, so it didn't work. And we're going to make another mistake. I actually think the TVP had fired all his shells there, which is why I'd lost so much health. But in fact, I got shot by something else. But anyway, we actually lose that game, but we finish it with an ace tanker, Confederate, high caliber, 7,400 damage, 2.2k assist. And it was unfortunate we lost that game, but yeah, it's just the way it is sometimes. But T95E6, it's a crazy tank now. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!